unconsciousness. The mind does work. There are images, patterns, things to recollect. It's not just the long, deep sleep that comes when the fear has left. The cold is felt, the slipping away of feeling is noted and then succumbed to. The mind functions. Time is distorted, jumbled, telescoped, accordion, but there is a sense of time even so. And I remember things. I remember the way it began. I remember the way it was in the beginning.
Daddy, I think he's lost his mind. He's never been like this before. Tonight he was almost crazy.
What did you say?
Oh, crazy things. That he's some kind of a spaceman and that they're taking over the Earth and that we're all going to die.
Better give him some thought.
Every time it starts at the speed of light.
Mentally disturbed.
When the space agency put me on my flashlight, don't listen to me. They told me to keep in mind the scientific process. And what do we know about our latest advance?
Better give him some help.
Don't listen to him. He's one of us. He's with the advanced unit. Unit?
What kind of advanced unit, son?
Don't fight them, son.
It'll only make it more difficult for all of us.
You're mentally disturbed.
Where there's an ill, there's a way. So be part of the experiment right here on Experimentally Ill Radio. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Michael Phelan O'Toole, and this is going to be Experimentally Ill Radio, episode 105 for February 23rd, 2019. And, I'm excited about this one. It's another on location chat. So in a little bit, we're gonna whisk you away and gonna hear my friend, the great punk champion and rock and roll journeyman, TJ Welch of the punk bands the Welch Boys and formerly the Blue Bloods. For everyone who is a fan of New England punk rock. And if you're not, well, just normally what we have here on the podcast, we just have, my tribe, find your tribe. We have, alternative artists, sort of oddball, creative people at large, kind of overcoming some obstacles, sometimes personal obstacles, sometimes obstacles in front of you. Just the message of the show that keeps ringing true is just persistence. Being a DIY artist. TJ is the reason we're going to whisk you away is because, Catch as Catch Can here, the last couple of episodes, grabbing creative folks to document the conversation and connect. It's been been in the field. I was invited to go and do camera for TJ's long-running TV series that he does called Sonic Lobotomy, and that's available on several community television stations in New England. But you can also, of course, check it out on demand. YouTube.com/Sonic Lobotomy, and I believe it's also Facebook.com/Sonic Lobotomy Boston. So, really, for years now, I've been just a fan. I got into video and all that, but just a fan of sort of the alternative scene and music, and really, especially in the past 10 years or so. Really got into the punk subculture and punk rock music, so it's really it's great to connect with TJ again. I probably knew him about 10 years ago from doing stuff at the Brookline Access television station, when my buddy Lawrence Hawley was the station manager at the time. He kept it open late, and he was also, you guys know, fans of the show will know, sort of my video and film partner. And also the former co-host of this podcast, and had a crew of people here together, much like a band. And then there was one. I'm left. I am the sole survivor. the flowers are still standing. It's just me. The show is still standing, episode 105. And again, the message of persistence in the do-it-yourself, subculture of, whether it's punk or just art in general, indie media, if you don't see this, just talking, doing a podcast as art, you don't need to be an artist to be inventive, and this is my invention, like TJ Welch invented the Sonic Lobotomy TV show. You see a hole, you see a void, and you fill it. Art can be your missing piece or that invention. I do the podcast for me to hear it and for you to hear it. But it's really just best case scenario, making a log of this kind of strange trip I've been on, and you guys kind of come with me and think about that movie and that album, that song you put on, and for a few minutes, you're feeling good. It gets you through, and of course, all those things can't replace, family, friends, everything else, and directly, talking to somebody if you're having some problems or whatever. But man, art really keeps us from going off the deep end sometimes. Entertainment, here in this world today, people can be critical of how kind of homogenized like entertainment is and everything. But, the mainstream of the mainstream, right? Like, oh, it's not unique. But sometimes even that stuff can help you escape a little bit for some time. And TJ Welch, he is, there's no other show I've really found in New England that really, and beyond, that, has really made sort of an effort to preserve and present, these great bands in the underground scene that, especially if you're underage, especially if you can't get out to the clubs, the bars, whatever, maybe you wouldn't have seen him otherwise. And he's presenting it, with 3 cameras in a studio with good sound. It's really a great thing, I used to go into the Brookline Access television station, and I would hear this sound, this ruckus billowing out, and, for every person you might say, turn that racket down, or, like Footloose, right? The town that outlaws music. There's somebody like me who's looking for a scene in a place. Maybe you grow up and you feel weird, you feel like you don't fit in, and you find that you find the punk scene, or you find the indie film scene, or you find the podcast that artists, they say that thing that you couldn't say. And in the best case scenario, it's a conversation, right? Not just in a vacuum. You want to write your own thing then, but in the meantime, you got those great tunes, at least they're out there. So for all the indie music fans and the indie media fans, here's to your February 23rd, 2019, episode 105, Experimental Radio. I'm here, Mike Phelan O'Toole. I'm here with my buddy TJ Welch. Hello. Of the Welch Boys and the Blue Bloods, and we just checked out another episode of his TV show, Sonic Lobotomy. We just checked out a Ramones cover band and a Clash cover band. Tell me a little bit about these guys.
Oh, that was just a fantastic episode. I think that was episode 69 and 70 of a local Boston rock television show I do called Sonic Lobotomy that I've done since 2007 or 6. I started the show back then when a friend of mine who did a couple Welch Boys videos, he's since left this mortal coil. His name was Joe Macon. He passed away about 4 or 5 years ago. But he had a rare muscle disease that eventually took his life. But I was always inspired by him because he was in a wheelchair and he managed to do all this wonderful video work. He edited and shot video for Darkbuster Skinhead that you can see out there on YouTube. And he did, of course, 617, which is a Welch Boys song, our first video, and another video for us called Les Paul. So, he was a good friend of mine, inspirational guy. I miss him a lot. And he actually helped doing the first few episodes of Sonic Lobotomy and did the show until he couldn't drive anymore. And as his disease progressed, it got tougher and tougher for him. But so it was Joe Macon's idea in mind to start the show out, and I keep it going many years later. And every episode, when I do a show, I think of Joe, and think he's maybe up there in heaven, watching. So that's one of the reasons I do it. Another reason is being in a local band in Boston. I love this city, and I love the music in this town, and it gives, in my mind, it gives bands a chance to be seen by a wider audience. And it gives them more exposure. It's really not a big budget show, but I think we do a pretty good job considering that we got no budget.
Right.
And we've shot over the years, like I've done 70 episodes, so we've had some good bands on over the years. We've had Darkbuster, we've had The Freeze, Kill Slug. Oh, so many great bands, bands you know and bands you wouldn't know. And we started shooting I live in Danvers, Massachusetts, so we started shooting at Danvers Access Cable. And for different reasons, we migrated to Brookline Cable, which is where I met you.
That's right, where we started. We did with our buddy Lawrence Hawley, who was the station manager at the time.
Yeah,
kept the channel open late, and I got to do some camera work on your show and got to direct some episodes, and that was really fun. It's cool to connect back here at Salem Access.
Yeah. We landed here at Salem, in Salem, Mass, and these guys are very accommodating, and they edit the show for me, which is a bitch of a job. If you've ever done video editing, it's time consuming. So I took a few years off of doing it, and I came back and said, hey, if you guys edit it for me, I'll do it again.
Right.
So here we are, and today we had the good fortune of shooting a couple of tribute bands to Ramones and a Clash tribute band. And I thought it was a fantastic episode. And I can't wait to get it edited and out there and give these guys
pretty iconic bands. I think you've always kind of been, to me, pretty clear. I mean, this is your punk rock and that whole thing. That's your passion. You've kind of been a champion of that whole thing, and then kind of using media to get it out there. I think that's kind of always been your thing. You've been doing the TV show now for years, and then I think you had done college radio, right? And done kind of rock and roll thing too.
The name of the show is Sonic Lobotomy, and Sonic Lobotomy actually started in 1984 or 5, my freshman year of college, when I started a radio show, and I really liked punk rock music growing up. I used to go to the matinee shows at the channel and go see SSD Control.
That's right. I don't want to call you old, but it's one of those like the T-shirt that says I might be old, but I've seen all the cool bands.
Yes.
That's what I think of with you, because we're gonna ask you about the Ramones, and you've seen all these iconic punk bands,
Black Flag and
like in the heyday, not the rehashed versions of these bands that come out,
Yeah, I was a junkie for punk rock, a little 14-year-old stage diver when I was younger. And then I went to college, and when I was 17 or 16 or whatever, and how old are you when you go to college? 18. My son's in college, going to college, so he's 18. So I was 18, and I started a radio show, and I liked the Ramones and that song Lobotomy, and then the Sonic, the alliteration, the O sound, right? So I did Sonic Lobotomy for 4 years in college. It was a radio show. It was all punk and hardcore.
Then you got to pick up the music and host it and everything. And
it was fun, and then years after that, I took the idea to video with Joe Macon, in probably 2006 or so. We started up.
So how did Joe kind of inspire you to think to do a video element to it?
Well, I had a video in mind, an idea in mind for a song I wrote called 617 off the first Welch Boys album, and forget how I hooked up with Joe, maybe over the internet or something. You know, video producer that really didn't charge a lot of money, right?
So he knew what he was doing as far as the video, and you were kind of bringing the punk rock stuff into it.
Joe knew how to edit and shoot video. He had a good eye for it. And, you know, it was just, when I first met him, he lived out near Worcester. You know, I saw, shit, this guy's in a wheelchair. And then I got the story from him about, you know.
Did you not know when you were talking to him, and then he just kind of showed up?
Yeah, so to me, I was just taken aback by, you know, what he, with a disability, what he was, his vision and what he was capable of doing. It was inspirational.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And made me, you know, feel like, shit, this guy can do this in a wheelchair, you know. Just motivated me and inspired me. And Joe became a good friend of the whole bands. We played with the Dead Kennedys at CBGB's about 2010 or whatever. And we just grabbed his fucking wheelchair and put it up on stage with us when we played. So that was right when CBGB was closing down. Wow.
You can't get much more iconic, I think, than a band like the Dead Kennedys and that CBGB's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He had his video camera there for that show. He always had his video camera going. It was tough to lose him a few years ago, and his memory will always be alive with Sonic Lobotomy.
So this was with your band, the Welch Boys. And you've done a ton of stuff, opening for these big bands like Dead Kennedys, Sham 69, I think, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of...
Business.
Yeah.
The Dropkicks.
Right, the Dropkick Murphys, which I listened to here. There's that, with both your bands, the Welch Boys and the Blue Bloods, are on Spotify. It's kind of mixed into my workout playlist now, so I think it's really cool.
I love the Blue
Dropkick
Bloods.
Murphys, I love the Blue Bloods too. I think it's your cover of Authority Song, I think. That's like one of my favorites.
Mellencamp song, yeah.
And the Welch Boys definitely has that sound like the Dropkick, kind of that, like, I don't know, it's like a pub rock kind of, or the oi sound, right? Or the Yeah,
we're playing the April 6th. We're playing the Northeast Oi Fest, so I guess we are considered an oi band. I don't know, labels, right?
definitely There's definitely a lot of Boston stuff in the songs, right? I mean, you're like the founding guy, and do you write all the songs, or is it a collaborative thing? Or?
Yeah, we all try to write them together. You know, I write a lot of them, but I try not to bring a whole song. I try to get the other guys to chip in, and then sometimes the other guys got a whole song that they bring. But I think every Welch Boys song at some point has everyone in the band thrown in with ideas or editing it, or, you know, we all help each other write songs, lyrics, whatever the hell. Even my wife helps me write lyrics. Like, I'll write what I think are fantastic lyrics, and she'll look at it and go, "This sucks. Change that one." So it's I don't know. It's a bigger group effort than you realize listening to it. It's not one guy's riffs and one, you know. It's but yeah, we have fun. You know, we're just starting to write some new stuff again after a few years of.
There's that album, Bring Back the Fight. Is the album,
that's
right?
our last album. Yeah. It just got released on vinyl in Germany.
Wow. So how do you work that out?
Europe last year. And we hooked up with some cool people, and they were like, "Yeah, we want to put your CDs out on vinyl." And I'm like, "All right." So it was good to see one of our records on vinyl. Yeah.
That's great. So that's what you mentioned, like running it by your wife and stuff, and being a fan of the stuff so long. Is it tough to kind of like balance like a family life and like that kind of thing with the band stuff? And
yeah, it is. It's any musician who does that. I think it is. You know, I got 3 young boys. But I've got, you know, a pretty tight family and an understanding wife. I mean, we're playing punk rock bowling in Vegas in May, right? So we go out there for the weekend. I take my wife with me on that. And hopefully she can enjoy herself. And, you know, she's great. So I met her in 1986 at a Freeze show.
Nice.
So, I mean,
weren't those guys on Sonic Lobotomy?
Yeah,
pretty recently, a few
came,
years ago.
Came full circle. Yeah, I had a Freeze on Sonic Lobotomy. So you know, yeah, no, she's put up with a lot over the years and given me the freedom to make the music, and you know, she's my Linda McCartney.
That's awesome. Better than like Yoko Ono or something, right?
Yoko Ono's doing Dark Side of the Moon now, I guess. Oh, yeah. She's gonna do like the whole album. And I saw a video clip of her doing that song with the woman sing on Dark Side. It's just truly horrible. But I like Yoko just for doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, didn't you run it? Did you hear some bad karaoke recently too? I think on a trip.
Yeah. Cheap Trick the other night at the casino. My buddy calls me up. He gambles a bit. Well, he's not a gambler, but he gambles enough to get free Cheap Trick tickets at Mohegan Sun. So he says,
So he won them.
yeah, let's get a hotel room. We'll go down there and have a blast. And so we saw a great Cheap Trick show down there. I love him, even though Bunny Carlos is no longer in the band. And then after we were hungry, we were like, let's get a burger. So we went up to the restaurant in Mohegan Sun, and they had karaoke night. And there was this guy who did a Bryan Adams song, Summer of '69, and he just did it so horribly. And he was just hilarious. He was a roly-poly guy. So I took a video of it and threw it out on Facebook and got like 100 hits or something. But it was worth witnessing, just so it's funny that, to see that just sometimes, I go to karaoke not to see the guy who nails it. I go for karaoke to see the guy who butches it. Because I'd be like that too. I don't do much karaoke, but when I do, I got a few beers in me, and it's horrible.
Yeah. You play guitar for the Welch Boys, right? Like not singing,
I do
right?
background vocals, but anyone can do background vocals. Like there's a lot of demos of the Welch Boys songs, the ones like that I've written. Where I'll do a vocal, and it's not that good.
Just to get an idea, to kind of present the idea. What is
Ed is our singer is such a good singer compared to me. But at least I get the melody out. But you'll never hear those demos with me. They're never going to be heard.
Yeah. I want to go back to the Sonic Lobotomy, the radio show. We got to mention. You've told this story a bunch of times, but it's an awesome story. We had the Ramones cover band in, and you got to interview somebody for your radio show, right?
Oh yeah. After like a couple years in college radio, I became like the station music manager, not the station manager, but the music manager. So my job was to get records in and play records and put stuff in heavy rotation. And this is in the 80s when college radio was kind of seen as a place that broke bands like REM, and different bands got broke by college radio. They weren't going to get played in the mainstream. It was an alternative. So alternative, what is alternative to what? Well, it was alternative to all the crap, the old classic rock junk. It was the new stuff. And that thrived on the left of the dial, all the college radio stations back then, and it still does.
Especially in Boston, seemed like broke a lot of.
Oh yeah, ERS and all those stations. So we had a pretty good. I was at Fitchburg State College at the time. We had 1,000 watts or whatever we had. We went 30 miles in either direction. So we got some attention from record labels and lots of free records. And after a while, I had connections with different people at labels, and I was able to talk my way backstage to get interviews and free tickets in college. And one of the shows was the Ramones at the Club Casino. And I waited in line to get in there, and G.G. Allen came up to me, and he had on fishnet stock and shaved head and blood, and it was just like forced me to buy a record from him. I think it was the "I Want to Rape You" single. So he's like, "Here, kid, buy this from me so I can buy beer, and I won't hurt you." And so I did that. And then I got into the club and got backstage and got to hang out with the Ramones like all night, eat pizza with them. I interviewed them. I got it on a cassette somewhere.
We'll have to if you can get me a copy of that, I can stick this on, that onto this. We can.
It's on the first Blue Bloods album. I put almost the whole thing, but backwards.
Oh really?
So
Okay.
the last song on the first Blue Bloods.
So if I pull that song.
Yeah, it could be on Spotify actually. So that's the interview there, and then it's backwards. Yeah.
So this was before the show or after the show or with the Ramones?
This was before the show, and I was maybe 17, 18, 19, whatever, and just talking to them and eating pizza with them and interviewing them. They were nice guys. It was cool. I loved the Ramones so much, and it was just cool to hang out with them.
I mean, at that point, had their kind of like legend. At this point, the legend kind of precedes them, of course, with all the T-shirts and everything. But
late to mid '80s, so they were
kind of like toward the end or the peak. Yeah.
Joey was not talking to Johnny, and I didn't realize it at the time, because I tried to get them to talk together. And Joey would say, "Oh, you go talk to him on that," I didn't realize the tension between the two of them. It was just awkward, but Dee Dee was cool.
With that memory.
Yeah.
You see all the documentaries and stuff that was like, I guess, was Johnny was kind of the militant one that was keeping the whole thing together, or very specific. Like we talked about people with OCD, kind of that
Johnny was the
OCD.
OCD guy, yeah. But you know what? I could have been exaggerated too. I don't know if they really hated each other totally. They wouldn't have been able to function as a band. But I did sense some isolation
There's some
between
tension in the room.
Yeah. I'm sure, they had political differences and whatnot, but I'm sure they had cared for each other. You know? I mean,
Johnny was a big conservative type, or a big Reagan fan, I think.
Yeah, I may have done that in reaction to Joey's being a big liberal, you know?
Yeah.
The point and counterpoint, that lightness and shade.
Yeah. So when you get, was that, because now I'm thinking like everyone has a podcast now, was college radio was a big enough thing, could you get backstage just fine, or did you have to kind of talk your way into it, or
I had to pick my spots and get favors from people. I got backstage for the Murphy's Law Beastie Boys show, and I think I talked to the guy at Warner for that one, and that was fun. Billy Idol played that one, yeah, so hanging out with those Beastie Boys are a mess. It was a riot backstage. They were just crazy parties.
It was a little riot.
And then the Ramon Replacements was a real good one.
Oh, really?
Because I showed up early at that one. They played at Axis or whatever the name of the club was on Lansdowne at the time. And they were just starting to get big. Let It Be had just come out. And, they decided this is the local guy we're going to drink with. So, that was just one of these deals where I got there at like noon and hung out with them. And 20 beers later, the next morning the sun's coming up and I'm waking up on a park bench or something. I don't remember. So I think I had.
You saw the shows though.
Yeah. I remember seeing, and they were really partying their brains out. The Replacements were the ones that stick out in my memory as being the craziest fuckers. Yeah, they were just.
And that was like in the 80s, right?
Yeah, that was right about when I turned drinking age. But yeah, they were a good bunch of guys. Paul, Westberg, and Tommy Stinson. Yeah, they're a great band. Not many people know about them anymore. But they were really, at one point, they were like the biggest alternative band and one of my favorites. And they're still big, but it's like they haven't done many reunions or anything. And so it's some bands get amplified more in retrospect than others. But I always felt like the Replacements should be bigger than they are.
The Ramones were pretty big. I think one of the bands kind of big in retrospect was like, would you say the Misfits? Like that kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Bigger.
And now the Misfits are back together playing gigs again for $100 a ticket or something.
The original Misfits with Danzig, right? And then, that's an interesting, that's the whole thing of these the punk bands now that come back for kind of the nostalgia tour.
I guess they deserve it. The Misfits really had their own sound. No one sounded like it. They had an actual punk singer that could sing like Elvis, Yeah. And they sang about some cool, weird shit, horror movies.
All the horror stuff.
Yeah, so they had their shtick. And, I like the Misfits. And they knew how to write a song with a hook.
Yeah.
And they kind of, their music, like the Ramones, harkened back to the basic rock and roll of the 50s and the basic chord structures and melodies. So, I guess I'm glad to see him back. I don't know if I can afford to see him, but...
That's right. I don't know. Wasn't it like they did a few reunion things. I don't know if it's going to be a whole tour now.
Boston, I consider it, but it'd be nice, Yeah.
Yeah, I love, that's one of the bands I'd love to see.
Yeah, I seen Sam Hain, which was his band after the Misfits, and then I seen Danzig's solo. To me is a little more too metally and too.
Right, it's more of like a metal sound.
Look at my muscles type stuff. Right?
Look at my muscles.
But, when I play shirtless, it's ugly.
Well, that's all the bands are like getting older too, so it's kind of like. But it's like, the bands that it's always cool to see like the original guys come back, because I know the bassist Jerry Only came out with a couple of different versions, and then he was singing, and it's not the same sound really.
Yeah, Danzig is a unique singer with a real nice baritone. I always liked his voice, and his melodies and his songwriting. I think he's a local guy, or he lived in Revere, Mass for a while or something. So. They are from New Jersey, though, but I think Danzig may be from this area. But I'm not really into the Satanism, that type of stuff too much. But I don't think he is
Yeah,
either. I
so
think it's kind of like a
Yes,
tongue-in-cheek.
Some rationale. Some rationale behind it. That's not. Yeah, like a. That's what. Well, that was what was great with the Misfits is kind of the tongue-in-cheek horror stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think you can take that, I raped your mother today or something.
Right.
I mean, you can't take that seriously. It's just off the charts. So, yeah.
So anything from the Ramones interview that you remember, or is it just a memory because it happened at all, or was there anything
Yeah.
good you got out of that?
Well, at the time, they had just come out with Too Tough to Die album, and they had 2 or 3 songs on there that were like almost hardcore, real fast. And I liked fast hardcore music at the time. I was really into bands like, Bad Brains and DRI. And, and I asked him, I says, this new album has some aggressive stuff on it. And they mentioned that they were inspired by the new hardcore Suicidals they mentioned. So they were the originators of punk, being influenced by a later generation of punk. And that's one of my favorite Ramones albums, Too Tough to Die. It had Warthog on it, and they were still relevant even 10 years after they invented punk. So that was cool. I remember asking that. And I don't know. I was, at the time I had a few beers in me, so I don't remember. I'd like to hear
that sounds familiar.
I haven't heard it in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then you kind of got a reputation as an interviewer, even today, doing Sonic Lobotomy, the TV show. But then tell me all about the. There was a documentary called Boys from Nowhere that you were doing a post screening. It was like a movie screening tour, and you were interviewing the guy afterwards who made the movie, I think.
Yeah. When I was growing up in Malden, a friend of mine got Chris Parsons, his name. He was a pretty good guitar player. And him and his brothers had a band, and they lived, I knew him from school and stuff. I went to Malden Catholic with him. So, Chris kind of got me interested in guitar, showed me a few chords, got me playing guitar. And I kind of kept in touch with him my whole life. And when at some point, Chris was always into that early Boston scene with the neighborhoods and, fucking Nervous Eaters and bands like that, Liars and whatnot. So at one point he just said, hey, I'm going to make my own documentary. And it
About that whole scene,
the Rat scene, the whole
the Rat, all the cool clubs you got to go to that all those closed, right?
Yeah.
The Rat,
and the Cantones,
the Channel.
Yeah. So he made a movie and he wanted to document all the bands in the Rat scene in the late 70s, but he ended up saying, well, I got to narrow it down to like 4 or 5. So, he decided on the Nervous Eaters, the Neighborhoods, Willie Loco Alexander, and the Liars maybe was one of them. Or DMZ, which was before the Liars, and I forget what the other bands. So he kind of narrowed it down to a finite amount of bands, and kind of did a retrospective on that era. Found a lot of original footage. Went out and found people to interview. I helped him on a few of the interviews. Bought some camera equipment, helped him out, and it was a lot of work, but he put it together, and it's a friggin' amazing movie, and he's done well with it. And now they've had showings of it at different places, and for some reason he says, hey T, you want to MC this showing, so I kind of get up on stage and introduce it, and right now I'm trying to encourage him to keep making movies. He's a great guy, Chris, and I think he's a great documentary maker. He's got a good sense for editing and the questions to ask and interviewing, so he's got some ideas for other projects, maybe doing a documentary on the Modern Lovers was one of his ideas he wanted to do, which I would love. So I told him, I says, if you need help, maybe even, camera work or financial backing or something, maybe we can, do something. So I'm hoping he's gonna, get going on another project. But in the meantime, this movie he's done, The Boys from Nowhere, is done well and continues to gain momentum. So it's good to see a childhood friend like Chris, a good buddy of mine, do well, and I want to support him.
So what's his name again? Do you know? Is there other?
Parsley. Yeah.
Is there anywhere that you know of where we can follow up with the movie?
Chris
Or
Parslin? Yeah. Well, I forget the name of his film company. He's got his own film company, and he's trying to negotiate a DVD release of it or get it on a Netflix as we speak. But it's called The Boys from Nowhere. And so far, it's been, it seems every few months they do a showing somewhere. So I would imagine by the end of the year, he'll have a DVD deal or a Netflix. Who even watches DVD anymore?
Right.
But get it out there in
Right.
Netflix or something,
Right.
streaming.
Duncan Wilder Johnson, right?
Yeah. Oh,
He did a Sam Black Church documentary.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I can't wait to see it. Now, Duncan's a good artist in his own right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I interviewed him a while back about when he was putting the documentary out and everything.
When is it coming out? I'd love to see it.
I think it's already out now. I think you can see like a trailer. I think it's called "Leave Behind a Groove in the Earth: The Story of Sam Black Church."
And they certainly did. Yeah, they were an amazing band. And they do occasional reunion shows, so it's good to see them back
Yeah,
at
they're like a kind of a local band that a lot of like bigger bands were influenced by. I think it didn't really get their own due, I guess. So it kind of tells that story, I guess.
Yeah, because they never compromised. I like them a lot, and especially live, they put on amazing shows. So it's good to see Duncan did a doc on them. There's a lot of good. There's a documentary on Slapshot that just came out, and then Ian McFarlane, the bass player from Blood for Blood, did a documentary on the Kings of Hardcore, I think it's called. It's about Agnostic Front. That just came out, and that got shown on Netflix, I believe, or Hulu or something. So. Or Showtime. So Ian's done good documentary work, and he's a great guy. Yeah, it's just always good to see movies about rock and roll. I went out and saw the Queen movie. I like that.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Now there's some movie about the Norwegian black metal.
I saw the Joan Jett Bad Reputation documentary.
I gotta see that one.
Yeah, I love her stuff. And
Lords of Chaos or something is the one about that Norwegian black metal band that I want to go see.
yeah, the Joan Jett one's on Hulu now, I think. But I went to see it at the one of the local they did like a one night screening in a theater, so that was pretty cool. I thought it was good. I think if you're a real fan, a lot of the clips you might have seen, but I think it's
Yeah. I always thought I loved her style and had a crush on her. I think she's gorgeous.
Yeah. I've seen her twice. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I thought that was a good one. And then what was the other with the Welch Boys? You guys just did a benefit show. You lost your drummer, right?
Yeah, because our first drummer, Ron Holbrook, passed away about 10 or 12 years ago, and he was a good friend of mine even before the band. So every year we try to get together and do a memorial show with a few bands and raise a little money, and I think we give it to Pine Street Inn. Yeah, that's it. Every year Pine Street Inn, which is a homeless shelter. So whatever we raise, a couple grand or whatever. And it's just one night to get together and with some bands that we like. We play at Great Scott. Carl Lavin is a great guy. Bowery Booking, he books it. And we have fun. It's a great occasion to get together, and the rest of the Welch boys all remember Ronnie, and it gives us a chance to remember him. He was a great guy.
Any other anecdotes with him? He was like one of the original guys.
Well, when I was in the Blue Bloods, and Blue Bloods started playing in like every weekend, Syracuse, New York, or whatever.
Was the Blue Bloods your own band too, or was that?
Yeah, I started the Blue Bloods with Tim Baxter, the singer. So we toured Europe with Blood for Blood and Slapshot in 2003. It was the Back on the Map Boston tour. It was awesome for like a whole month in Europe. And after that, I was just like my wife. We had babies and stuff, right?
Right. Back to like the family, balancing it.
Yeah, I had to leave the Blue Bloods, and they continued without me. And yeah, that's when I started up the Welch Boys. I'm drifting. What was the original question again?
I guess just any anecdotes of like with your original drummer.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah. All right. So I wrote a few songs, and I had a little bit of a studio in my cellar, and I said, "Fuck, man, I got to keep going." What was I put on this planet to do? One of the things, maybe make a little music, right?
Leave something behind. You were saying.
Yeah.
You talked about what'd you say? Let's face it, we're not normal people because we're compelled to. Because as far as this is drifting off, but as far as documentary goes, it's quite a documentary. All the episodes of Sonic Lobotomy, the TV show, all these great live performances from bands in the studio. You know, it's
Yeah, it's
cool
kinda-
catalog.
I'm inspired by like the Smith, the guy who did Folkways. So he went out and collected all
It's
this.
all folk music.
And we never know what it was from the 40s and 50s if this guy didn't do that. So, you know, that inspired, and any artist, I guess, you know, we all realize our mortality and we want to just leave something positive behind, right? So, you know, I quit the Blue Bloods and I started thinking, what am I doing here? I got to keep going, keep something going. And Welch boys, you know, kind of came together, and I was like, well, what musicians do I know? And I know this guy Ronnie. We used to jam on Zeppelin songs, and he was my friend since like high school. And let's see if I can get him interested. I know he doesn't know any punk music. He wouldn't know friggin' Dead Kennedys or Black Flag or nothing. But I know he's a talented drummer. So I talked him into playing in the band, and then I recruited a few other guys. Mark Powers, our bassist, and I was on that Back on the Map tour with Slapshot in Europe in 2003, and I thought the guitarist from Slapshot would be a good front man. So I kind of talked him into singing. Ed Lally, great singer, and we recruited Ronnie on drums, and my buddy PJ, another guy who doesn't know any punk rock. Still doesn't. You know, you could go, PJ, and he's in the Welch Boys. You go, PJ, what's your favorite Black Flag song? You wouldn't know, you know? But I recruited him to play, and, you know, we hit it off pretty good. And it's a lot easier when you got, you know, a jam spot and studio set up, and we were like, shit, this is fun. So that was 15 years ago, whatever, and we just keep going, you know. But, yeah, so anecdotes about Ronnie, yeah. No, Ronnie used to, you know, Ronnie was like passive aggressive, you know. So he'd sit behind his drum kit, and then Mark Powers would kind of like dig into him, our bass player, and rag on him and shit on him over some stupid thing, make fun of him. And then Ronnie just fucking flipped and jumped over his drums and tried to strangle Mark Powers. And that was a good anecdote. And I had to calm him down, you know, but eventually.
This goes back to like we're not normal people. We want to leave something behind.
Yeah, we were all, you know, pretty. Bands were always involved. It was always emotions were accentuated by alcohol. But Ronnie,
PSA episode.
that's what I remember most about Ronnie. He just, you know, he was the nicest guy in the world till you push him too far, and then he fucking snapped. And you know, to see Ronnie just vault himself over his drum kit at practice and try to strangle Mark, who's bigger than him, and you know.
It just makes me think of like, what's the logistics as far as like touring Europe and all that, kind of being like a, kind of like, I mean, would you still say like an independent band, like still being local, but then like kind of like organizing something like touring Europe and all?
Well, that's the unique thing. In Europe, they have an infrastructure in place for bands that want to tour, and they have a desire to see American bands. I think the world likes some American rock and roll. They realize, you know, Americans kind of, I guess we invented rock and roll, maybe us and the British, right, you know? So there is a love of American, especially underground music I see over there, to the point where even a band like the Welch Boys, who is certainly not huge over here, have an opportunity to play in Europe and not have to pay a ton of money to tour there for a few weeks. And get on. In Europe, they have these festivals in these big fields with 30 bands, you know, and like Sick of It All or something. We headline and all these local bands underneath, and they always have American bands too. So, you know, I've toured Europe a few times. We did this last one with Bone Crusher, and they've been touring every year in Europe for 10 years or whatever. So they had that built-in following, and they took us. They were our buddies from L.A. Bone Crusher, great guys, great band. So they took us over to Europe with them last year, and we had a blast. You know, we played everywhere, in Germany and Belgium, and yeah, logistically, it's you know, you get in a van, you load on, you know, you get over there, they got the equipment for you, and you got to drive on the Autobahn. That sucks. Anyone who says the Autobahn's a good road to drive is full of shit. It sucks, especially in a friggin' van, you know, a Euro van. But, you know, we had fun. It was the best times and the worst of times, you know? I'd do it again. I'm 52 years old, touring Europe, you know? I mean, when I was 18, I would have loved to do that, but I didn't at the time. But now it's like, you know, my wife let me go for a few weeks, and that's what I did. I toured Europe and played some good shows and had some good memories, and there were actually some people over there who knew the hell we were and knew our lyrics and stuff, so that was inspiring. You
I
know,
was gonna say with stuff like Spotify now, it can kind of suggest to you like bands that sound like similar, maybe like similar genres that maybe.
and that's how people get turned on. So I guess if you go out there on Spotify and you listen to Dropkicks and you like bands, maybe we come up. So it's I think that's been good. We don't make any money off of Spotify, but I'm not even in this for the money. So Spotify helps us spread. We used to listen to vinyl and cassettes when I was younger, but nowadays most people are getting their music out of YouTube or Spotify, and that's cool.
Right.
It's spreading the music around. It was a adventure, and I'd do it again. Not a lot of sleep.
But you still are you able to break even with something like that, or
Yeah, and we're relatively obscure, but we were still able to break even. Maybe, it cost me a lot less than if I would take my family to Europe, right?
Right.
Maybe a plane ticket, and then we get over there, and everything else to take care of. The booking agencies over there are really good. There's some good people over there. And then, like countries like Germany and stuff, and Belgium and France, and they just eat up American.
Get a taste of Boston, like that great. Who did the Welch Boys logo? That's like a skull and a shamrock.
Yeah, I came up with that idea.
Yeah.
I said, why don't we superimpose this cool looking skull on this clover? And then it just worked out good. Yeah. I'm Irish, so, Welch, I don't know. We're not really playing Irish music like the Dropkicks, but I got Irish blood, so.
I can hear it though in the singer though, that similar kind of Dropkick sound.
It's half Irish, We don't play it up a lot outside of the clover and the logo, but I think
a lot of good drinking songs though, bar songs.
It's a common thread. We all like to tip them back once in a while within reason. So a lot of the lyrics that come out are whether I'm writing it or Mark or Ed, they're about. But a lot of them about the downsides of drinking too.
Yeah. So there's a lesson in there.
Yeah. I mean, if you listen to a song of ours like "Drinking Angry," it's really about someone whose life has been in family life and relationships have been torn apart by drinking. So, and maybe there's a little of me in that song, but not really. So to me, it's like a cautionary type song.
Right.
I don't.
It's like anthemic. I feel like for that Boston bar crowd, like one way or the other, like good and bad. I feel like.
Yeah, maybe they're singing along. They don't realize they drinking angry. They think it's a good thing.
It was like that the rapper Afro Man. He did that song Because I Got High.
Yeah.
And it's all like, and people are like, "That's my drug jam." It's like, dude, it's about how he like ruined his. He can't do anything because he got high. He like ruined his life.
I was gonna eat your pussy out, but then I got high.
I was gonna clean my room, but then I got high. Yeah, because I got
I
high.
think Afro Man he probably smokes a ton of pot, but I think that particular song is about excess.
Right.
Yeah. And the downside.
Yeah. Right. So if you really listen to the details, so it's like a lesson. Like it's maybe like for your son Owen who's getting ready to go off to college, right? Like he, which I knew him. He's been like in the control room in Sonic Lobotomy for like years now, growing up with seeing this show and all these bands and things. And isn't he working on some of his own music now?
He's become a pretty good guitar player. I've had him take lessons all his life, and he's got good musical taste. And he's got his band. He's gathered a few musicians around him. So it's kind of inspiring seeing the kid doing what he's doing. I mean, music is part of his life, probably just as much as mine, and my other sons as well. They all love music. So, I think it's a good thing. And whenever I can, I try to get him to come and attend a Sonic Lobotomy shooting, whether I need him for camera or whatever. And he likes it. He likes the Clash, so and the Ramones. So he had fun today watching that whole thing go down.
I thought it was really fun. He was telling me earlier that he's like when my dad had like little me on camera, like how many shows I ruined or something, and like I think it's all part of the punk rock, the DIY spirit like that you have.
He's still trying to find his own thing. He doesn't have the confidence that maybe will come to him later as he gets better. But I think I see him play with his friends, and sometimes I'll go downstairs and pick up a guitar and jam with him.
Nice.
And I like the direction his playing is going. He's got big fingers, and he's just got a passion for guitar and playing. I mean, when you walk in the room and you're sitting down with on the couch with a guitar, it's pretty cool. So he's picking that up every day, and he something inside him, other than me saying, hey, I play guitar, you should play guitar, so that's coming from inside him.
Yeah, I was mentioning I mentioned how you saw one of your last Sonic Lobotomy episodes, the band Denzel, that you said they were kind of had like a bad brains sound, and he was saying, he said, on his own, like, oh yeah, any band that can sound like the Bad Brains, not just in the sound, but like a performance, is a great thing.
Yeah, he was inspired by that Denzel show, and he likes a lot of the same bands I do. So it was
There's a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
But
so it was it's good that he's got good musical taste.
Right.
And he likes his roots. He likes the Bad Brains, and he likes a lot of the bands I do, and then he likes his own stuff. He'll say, "Dad, check these guys out." I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So he connects me to the newer stuff. Yeah.
So who got you into music? Did you find it on your own, or?
I kind of have it in a vacuum. I got to say, my parents weren't really musical. They were, great parents, but they didn't need, when I started playing guitar, they didn't really encourage me, I tried to get my friends over to jam, and they were like, no, that can't happen here.
Can't happen here. Yeah. That was like a Frank Zappa thing, I think.
Don't eat the yellow snow.
Yeah.
My guitar wants to kill you, mama. But, so it was kind of, I don't know, things like watching Saturday Night Live growing up, and the musical guest, I'd always like Gary Newman come on. I'd be like, whoa, what the fuck is this? And so then I'd say, Dad, Gary Newman's playing the Orpheum in 1981 or 80, and I wasn't old enough to go on my own. My dad, oh yeah, I'll take you, and then so he took me to see Gary Newman at the Orpheum, and it was just like he was just freaked out by it. He's an Elvis guy, he didn't understand it, but it was cool that he took me. And then from there the punk rock, and then that's when early '80s when hardcore got big in Boston. There were some. I grew up in Malden. There were some hardcore slap shots from Malden, and
you got to see. I love Black Flag too. That's one of your stories that you kicked Henry Rollins in the mouth accidentally while crowd surfing.
I had my Doc Marten boots on. And I went to see him at Brandeis or some college, and stage diving and kicked him in the mouth by accident. I swear it was an accident.
That was when he was really at odds with the fans too, or the fans were pretty aggressive towards him too. I think.
I don't blame him. He got sick of getting. After a certain point, they wanted to play slower and heavier, and didn't want the slam dancing and shit. And here I was up on stage, fucking jumping on him. So I think he got pissed and stopped the show and tried to get people to find me and beat me up. At which point I ran outside, just fucking kept running.
In his heyday, that was pretty.
He lost a chicklet because of my fucking Doc Marten.
Wow.
I like Black Flag. I'm sorry, Henry. He would have kicked my ass too. I was a little scrawny guy. But, I like those.
Seems to have plenty of those stories.
Yeah, I got a lot of fucking stories about those days. Those are good times to grow up in Boston.
I think you'll be like Henry Rollins has plenty of the storytelling now that he does. Come away with plenty of stories.
Yeah.
We can wrap this up we're closing us down at the Salem Access TV channel.
No, this is great.
It's cool.
To have a chance to talk to you, Mike.
I'll stick some of your music in here, or I'll find if I can find that Ramones interview.
Let me look for it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right.
So check out anything. Plug your stuff. Sonic Lobotomy is on YouTube, right?
If you go out at YouTube and put in Sonic Lobotomy at YouTube/Sonic Lobotomy, you can get all 69 episodes of the show. Welch Boys is still going. We hope to have a new album, sometime this year or next year. Or stream a new set of 10 songs that stream, because this album, what is that? I just encourage everyone to to create music and be part of the music scene and keep rock and roll and punk going. And it's just been wonderful growing up in this town and being surrounded by so many people who support music like yourself.
And just weird creative people in general, I feel like I'm a fan of too. And then I always loved punk rock too, and then to have kind of Sonic Lobotomy be another gateway. I mean, I got into like when I was in like junior high school, I got into the TV and video stuff, but then I was always into rock and roll too. So it's great to have a marriage of those things, and then now kind of like radio and the marriage of media and documenting people, and I'm trying to use it as an excuse to connect with people like yourself. Glad to be here. Glad to talk to you.
Yeah, it's podcasts and things like that, like your thing, that keep it rolling. The essence of life is in those people who don't swim with the other fish, right?
Right, and to support each other. And best case scenario, parents, support within reason, support your kids. They'll believe what you tell them when they're starting out, right? So be as positive as you can, right?
Yeah, if you're going to introduce children into this world, you have the ability to shape their tastes and create that person that they become. You don't want to be overbearing, but at the same time, if you play it right, they end up cool. So you just expose them to the good stuff, and it's a wonderful thing. It keeps going generations into the future. Yeah.
All right. I'm doing our part to keep it going and document it. All right, so check out more of my chats with artists and my friends. Check them out on experimentally.com. Check out TJ Welch, Sonic Lobotomy, the Welch Boys. Check out the Blue Bloods if you haven't heard them. And all right, experimentally.com. And until next time, persist to get ill.
knows all my disease. Forget my introduction. The day that I met you, I had my apprehensions. We said I couldn't know it all before. Now you got me drinking angry. Gonna drink till I get pissed. Gonna drink till your memory is fading away. Gonna drink till you don't exist. Gave you all the money. Oh, you can take the kids. I'm just a nightmare. A bottle of black in a motel room. They say I never loved you. You know that you're a liar. I put you to the limit. God knows you gave me my chances to change. Now you got me drinking angry. Gonna drink till I get pissed. Gonna drink till your memory is fading away. Gonna drink till you don't exist. Slam it down my throat. Live my life without you. Chose my path, then I threw it all away. Never should have wanted. Never should have stayed. The whiskey is my mistress. A broken promise in an early day. Now you got me drinking angry. Gonna drink till I get pissed. Gonna drink till your memory is fading away. Gonna drink till you don't exist. Now you got me drinking angry. Gonna drink till I get pissed. Gonna drink till your memory is fading away. Gonna drink till you don't exist. 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 You say you got some trouble, feeling sorry for yourself. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Did you think I'd shut my mouth? I can't see your demons, can't comprehend your pain. I would hate to see a good friend ride a horse into the grave. Don't need to see you go. Don't need to see you fade away. Pick up your dad's last ball and play. Forget about the bullshit and all the time that was spent. Girls will come, girls will go, it doesn't mean the end. If there's nothing else he gave you, you got his unspoken hope. Pick up the man's guitar, that's all you need to know. Don't need to see you go. Don't need to see you fade away. Pick up your dad's last ball and play. Don't need to see you go. Don't need to see you fade away. Pick up your dad's last ball and play. Don't need to see you go. Don't need to see you fade away. Pick up your dad's last ball and play. Don't need to see you go. Don't need to see you fade away. Pick up your dad's last ball and play. Don't need to see you go. Don't need to see you fade away. Pick up your dad's last ball and play. Don't need to see you go. Don't need to see you fade away. Pick up your dad's last ball and play. Pick up your dad's last ball and play. Well, they like to get you in a compromising position. Well, they like to get you there and smile in your face. that condition. Well, I think it's a total disgrace. So I say, I fight authority, authority always wins. Well, I fight authority, authority always wins. Well, I've been doing it since I was a young kid and I come out grinning. Well, I fight authority, authority always wins. I called up my preacher, I said, give me the strength for round 5. He said, you don't need no strength, you gotta grow up, son. I said, growing up leads to growing old and then to dying. Dying to me don't sound like all that much fun. So I say, I fight authority, authority always wins. When I fight authority, authority always wins. Well, I've been doing it since I was a young kid and I come out grinning. When I fight authority, authority always wins. I said, oh no, no, no. I said, oh no, no, no. I said, oh no, no, no. I fight authority, authority always wins. Hey, hey, hey. When I fight authority, authority always wins. Well, I've been doing it since I was a young kid and I come out grinning. When I fight authority, authority always wins. When I fight authority, authority always wins. When I fight authority, authority always wins. Well, I've been doing it since I was a young kid and I come out grinning. When I fight authority, authority always wins.
It's the way you walk across the room, the way you act. Yeah, you're the damnedest barfly I've ever seen. You act like some weird blue blood, like royalty.
Wasn't aware of that. Thank you.
Wasted in the car outside the house. Well, I can feel the heater coming round. I'm gonna put my arm around you and you give me a look like I'm way out of bounds. You let out one of your boy's eyes. Well, lately when I look into your eyes, I'm going down, 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 down. 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 We get dressed up and we go out, ready for the night. We come home early, burning, burning, burning in some firefight. I'm sick and tired of this set me up, ditches and like me down, 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 down. Going down, 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 down. Going down, 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 down. Going down, 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 down. I pull you close now, baby. When we kiss, I can feel our doubt. I remember back when we started, my kisses used to turn you inside out. I used to drive you to work in the morning, Friday night I dropped you all around. You used to love to drive me wild, girl, but lately, girl, you say your kisses just driving me down, 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 down. Go 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 down, 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 down.
You who build these altars now to sacrifice these children, you must not do it anymore.